Okay, so this is going to be a beginner's guide to AI email copywriting. This has been something that's been requested by a few people on our newsletter. Link for that in the description below. And we're going to go straight into it. So this is us, Kensington Media House, Klaviyo Gold Partner. Here are some of the brands we've worked with over the years. It's my co-founder here. Here are a few of our links for YouTube, LinkedIn, X, which is Twitter, and then a couple of our free guides here as well, some of our best YouTube videos. This is our free newsletter, 3X weekly. You get some of the best guides on the internet, which are better than anyone else has paid. So let's go into this. On today's agenda, let's get straight into AI email copywriting, because it's something that there are a lot of misconceptions about, and something that I think there are many things that we can clear up. So what we'll cover today, we'll go into defining what successful copywriting is, what we're actually looking to achieve, because if we don't define our actual outcome that we want to get to with AI copywriting, well, it's very unlikely that we're actually going to have a good end result, right? So we need to first define what is good copywriting, and then what is good AI copywriting, and how do we get there, right? Second thing, how to prompt AI like a master craftsman to get your desired outputs. Think of yourself as a sculptor here, where you're essentially getting the best initial output you can and then kind of chiseling it down from there into a perfect art piece, right? Third is going to be understanding the pitfalls and biases of language learning models and AI machines when you're using these to write copy, and how to kind of work with these biases, and also how to negate these biases as well when you want to do so. Fourth will be examples of good AI prompting and bad AI prompting. Number 5 is going to be the number one prompting hack no one talks about. This guarantees good outputs. Definitely stick around for this. This is, something I wish I knew years ago. Number 6, which we will get into as an example, is what Cristiano Ronaldo can teach you about AI prompting. And then what we're going to do once we've gone through all of these is that I'm actually going to be writing a welcome series for none other than Gymshark, right? So we'll go through, we'll write a full welcome series for the brand Gymshark, and we'll use all the principles here. So you can see essentially what bad outputs will lead to, and then what, using the principles from this video will lead to when we go to write that welcome series. So detailed intro. Question, how do you get the most out of AI, right? So defining success here, right? Before we even go into like writing and giving examples of good AI copy, we first want to know how it works. How do these machines actually work? What do we need to be successful? What are the pitfalls? What are the biases? And so on. The main word, you're going to be hearing this about 50 times throughout this video, but it's so important, right? Like there's a real reason why I'm going to mention this 50 times, but it is context. It's going to be context length. And if your copy isn't sounding right, if you're not getting the output that you want to get, it's because you're not giving the machine enough context or the right context, okay? So if the machine had all of the information necessary, the email would of course sound right. If you're not getting the outputs that you want, it's because the inputs aren't at the requisite level that they need to be at, okay? Another misconception here, AI copy isn't necessarily a lot less work, as you're gonna see in this YouTube video, right? To get the best outputs possible, it actually is quite a lot of work. There isn't kind of one magic prompt that we're going to use, which is going to give us, a perfect email or a perfect series of emails in one go, right? We have to give the machine a lot of context and ensure at every stage when we're giving it that context that it understands what we have said to the machine, right? AI is to writing what a calculator is to mathematics. It will do the legwork, but you still need to ensure it's facing the right direction. This is of course the strategy here, and it's doing the right tasks, which is sort of the implementation plan. So here is you, and here is the AI model. You are a civil engineer in this case, and you're building a bridge. The civil engineer still has to plan out the foundations, the shape, the arc, the materials required. The calculator will just assist him in making those calculations. So you're essentially prompting this thing. You're using this tool, using this sort of leverage essentially. But if you don't know what you're doing with the machine, you're not going to go in the right place. You're not going to go in the right direction. Rather, you're not going to get the right outputs that you want to get. The meta concept, and this is kind of the main thing that we want to learn here from context. This is actually something that a lot of software engineers will say, in let's say Google and Amazon, these sorts of companies. The meta concept is garbage in equals garbage out. If you give it poor inputs, you are going to get poor outputs. And this is what we're working with the word context. We need to give it the right context and the right amount of context. If you're not giving AI enough context, and once again, I mean enough context and also the right context, the correct context, you will not get good copy. Your outputs will only ever be as good as your inputs. Garbage in equals garbage out. So you're the best baker in the world in this case, and you ask them to make a cake for you. Instead of allowing them to pick their own ingredients, you only give them expired flour, eggs, and milk plus rotten sugar from dying sugarcane. And I ask you, can the cake possibly be good? I think it's more likely that the output will come out like the image below. I think we're looking at a cake from hell here, and these eggs don't exactly look too appetizing, and I think the mix here is just not going so well. So we have an amazing baker here, but if we give it poor ingredients, we're obviously going to get poor outputs. Let's start defining good inputs. Now that we've given you all of that background, we've given you a few analogies to sort of think through this stuff, let's go through what do good inputs do? We're trying to write email copy here that drives conversions, that represents our brand and our tone of voice well, sounds human and likable, and enable seamless handoff to the design team to keep email production high, both in terms of output and in terms of quality, right? So we're driving conversions, we want to make as many sales as possible. We want to make sure that we're always upholding the brand perception. We want to make sure we're sounding human and likable, and we want to enable a seamless handoff. Now, as you're starting to see here, this doesn't mean there's zero work involved in this. It just means that it's like having a calculator beside you, right? You still need to know that these 4 things, this kind of the direction that we're heading in, these are the things we always have to uphold. This is going to sound super simple, but this is why I wanted to define success before we actually went into any examples. What if you just told the AI this? What if you just told it exactly what good looks like? What if you told it exactly the direction you're heading in and the exact destination you want to wind up in? You're going to be far more likely to actually get there. You'd be, so, I suppose, surprised, but you'd see so many people write the following into AI and then wonder why their output's poor. You see, I'm writing a welcome email for my clothing brand named Kensington. This is a hypothetical brand that we've just used for the purpose of this email from, modeling after Kensington Media House, the agency that sells hoodies and t-shirts. Please write this and let people know they have 10% off their first purchase using code WELCOME10. Now, what do we see here? Have we given AI all of the context required? Let's go through this. So what's the goal of the email? Where are we going? What's the brand tone of voice and vibe? What emotional triggers are we going to use? And of course, psychological triggers in general. What principles of persuasion are we going to use? How are we going to make the email sound personable and human-like? What design cues are involved? How should the email appear? How should it flow? How should all the sections sort of work together? You can see here, you could never get a good output in this case because the AI has so much ambiguity. What we are doing with context is reducing ambiguity. We want to get rid of all ambiguity. We increase context, we give it the right context, the correct amount of context, and then what happens when we do this is we get rid of all ambiguity, right? Without all this information, how are you going to get a good output? It's literally impossible. Let's go deep on context. Let's show you how to do all of these things, and let's show you how to get the best outputs possible. Going deep on context, this word again. Have you ever looked at GPT or Claude or other AI models and seen numbers such as 128K here, or 8K here, or 200K beside them, just like this image below? This is from a tool that we use as well with a number of different AI models in there. What these numbers are, what these numbers represent is context length. This is the number of tokens that this language learning model can process at once. Basically in one input sequence, so one writing session, it can handle, O1 Mini can handle 128K, Claude 3.5 Sonic can handle 200K, ChatGPT 4.0 can handle 128K, and so on, right? This is basically the amount of context it can handle. We want to make sure that we're making use of this context. This is almost as much as it can store in its head, in one writing session. That's kind of the best way to think about it. We want to make use of that context length so we can have the best outputs possible. Now, what context does the language learning model need to write great marketing emails? Now, the answer, and this is why, AI isn't necessarily a panacea, is that it needs quite a lot, okay? These are the things that we're going to put into the AI, and then when we go through and we write out, our welcome series, I'm going to show you how good the output is here. I'm going to show you just how good we can do while we make a little custom bot for ourselves here for Gymshark. We can make things really strong here. So brand information. So we have the brand name, the mission, the values and tagline, a description of the product or collection being promoted, USPs, what makes the brand product unique. And the key is, right, it's not just that we half-ass this, right? We need to give extreme detail. When I say giving the machine enough context, I mean we need to remove any possible amount of ambiguity here. And I'm going to show you with our prompting as well how you can guarantee to reduce all of the ambiguity, or eradicate it, I should say. Second, the target audience: age, gender, location, income level. Who are these people? Psychographics, their interests, their values, their pain points. What are they looking to achieve by buying our products? This is actually something that's funny that we notice with our clients, but before they do our onboarding form, they actually don't really understand their target audience that well. We go super deep into this with clients, and it helps us with our design, it helps us with our copy, it helps us with the structure, the flows, and kind of what problems that we're looking to solve. You really want to drill down into these. It's super important. Customer personas or segments as well. Within here, once again, extreme detail. You'll start to see in every section here we need extreme detail. And that kind of, you'll start to see, does go without saying. The campaign details. So the type of campaign, is it a sale, is it a holiday promotion, is it a product launch, limited time offer? What exactly are these? What's the goal of the campaign? What is, the time of year? What date is it going to go out on? Give it super details here. What's the offer going to be? Is the goal just to increase engagement? Is it to increase brand status? Is it to drive conversions? Is it to try and, what is the campaign actually looking to do? So where are we going? Giving the AI all of this context. Once again, what if you just told it all this stuff? Baking and persuasion. You want to tell the system what the principles of persuasion are, what emotional triggers are, what psychological triggers are, and get them to use them in the copy where possible. Things like the kind of 6 elements of persuasion, which we put in our copywriting guide, which is on our channel. You can find it on the channel there. It's an exhaustive copy guide in terms of what good copy looks like in general. Social proof, liking, commitment, consistency, reciprocity, authority, and then scarcity and urgency. Once again, extreme detail here. Here's what we want to do to actually persuade people. Number 5, email components. So the subject line, the tone and focus, header text, hooks, key messages. So this is like kind of getting into structure now. So like what do we want to actually have the email look like? And a cool thing here is you can actually feed in old emails or emails from other brands that you like. You can feed these into the AI models and kind of help yourself here. Now the CTA, like look how granular we're going here with this detail. Like, what do we even want the CTA to say? Coming back up to our prompt here, I mean, how is this ever gonna do anything? Once you actually see what's required to have really good outputs, you kind of see how those prompts are a bit ridiculous. 6, tone and style. Define the tone: professional, casual, witty, luxurious. Like, kind of what's your tone of voice here? Go into detail here. How long are your sentences even? Like, how detailed do you go in your language? Do you guys use humor? Do you not use humor? Obviously very different for every brand, but once again, if the AI doesn't have this information, it's never going to give you the best output possible. Number 7, visual cues. So we need to hand this off to the design team as well. We need to give the design team as much context as possible as well. If we want the output and generally want the email to look as good as possible, we need to hand this off to our design team well. So just like an AI model, we want to avoid our design team working in the dark because they don't have context on how the email should look. We want to avoid lots of edits then, because we didn't set the email up to succeed. Want to include placeholder suggestions for images, GIFs, or graphics to support the email. So we can say, add hero image with short headline plus call to action button, insert image of product on model here, or kind of just insert product mock-up here. Like what kind of images do we want to be putting in this email? And then just kind of let the design team know what kind of text are you going to put on the hero image? How big should it be? How should the call to action even look? This saves us a lot of headaches with getting a less than ideal output and then having to kind of redo it all the time. Just like I kind of said in the previous point, if you feed in past successful emails, it's going to really, really help you, in terms of, what structure suits your brand, potentially even your clients, because I know a lot of email marketers watch these videos too. What we can do here, the good thing is, I know this sounds like a lot, and I know probably a lot of you are kind of throwing your eyes up to heaven a little bit and being like, wow, is this like, do we actually like have to do this? And it's like, yes, if you want the best outputs possible, you absolutely do. But the thing is that you can store this in one place and you can always have this context for the AI model. You can basically get all of this down into one place, get it out in a super like lucid and cogent fashion in detail and store it. And then what you're gonna do when we come in here, we're gonna use Notion, or you could use ClickUp, or you could use, just even a text editor. And you're going to use this to essentially keep all of your context for how your tone of voice is, how your email should look. And this is going to be really, really cool. So generally speaking, the best way that we're going to feed data into AI, or kind of feed context, is to use Markdown and CSV files. A Markdown file is essentially a text file. So you can open it using a text editor, on a Mac. This is just the text edit app, it comes with your computer. Anyway, there is a text editor on Windows as well. I think it could just be called text editor too as an app. Every computer is going to have one of these. You can pull all of this data into Notion, right? So we generally would use Notion for this. We're just going to go export here, and then we can go Markdown and CSV. So you can see here, right? I have all of this context pulled in up here, right? I actually have all of this written down on a page, and you can see I can just export this as a Markdown and CSV file. This will be a .md file, which can be read by any text editor, and this can be uploaded, into any AI model. It's very easy to read for an AI model because, once again, these are language learning models. This is just text. It's just language, and we're able to give it all the context possible. So you can just make out one master file as you go, and then upload this file, and always have context prepared for the language learning model to understand. I'm going to make another video soon on how to program bots for your brand, so you can essentially build custom bots which are automatically programmed to have every bit of context required from day one. That's not going to be the purpose of this video. This is going to be more of a beginner's guide to AI email copywriting. If you want to get an exhaustive series on AI in general in terms of marketing, because it's something that we're quite on the cutting edge of, subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications, and also sign up for our newsletter in the description, because our newsletter sees all of this stuff first. So you can see here, I can take this Markdown file and I can just upload it into any AI model. In this case, it's ChatGPT, but yeah, you could do this in Claude, you could do this in Google Gemini, you could do this even in Twitter's Grok, X's Grok, I should say. You could do it into really any model in general. Once again, you would just flesh out all of these elements. And once again, this guide, this kind of document, I have this in the description of the YouTube video. You can just click here or click down below, and then you can go into here and go into extreme detail for all of these things, and you can just put it into a Notion page and go on from there. But these are the things which are going to eradicate ambiguity, right? So brand information, the target audience, campaign details, baking in persuasion, email components, the tone and style, and visual cues, and making it easy to hand it off to the design team. You just want to go into this in extreme depth, in one master document that you can kind of give context to the AI. Now, quickly, we're going to go into an AI prompting hack that no one knows about. And once again, we talk about, eradicating ambiguity. This is how we do that. So with everything we've spoken about here, you're probably wondering, okay, well, like, what if I do all of this and the output's still not good enough, right? Because you could be very particular about the tone of voice for your brand, or whether it's for a certain client, they could be very, very particular. So you might be thinking, okay, well, what if I do all of this, the AI still doesn't have enough context? How will I know? Like, how will I know that, it's a context issue? How will I know that? This is the number one AI prompting hack, is to use this right at the end. Before responding, please let me know if you have any questions or need more context. If not, you may generate your response. What you'll actually find, and this is going to be one of the AI biases that we're going to go into in just a second here, is that AI just wants to give you what you want. Because what you'll find here is that this is actually one of the biases we're going to go into in just a second in terms of how AI models work and how language learning models work in general, but they just want to give you what you want. They want to give you what you want right away. It's almost like they're overly polite. And so what you want to do is when you use this prompt, you'll actually find that it might need quite a bit more context, but it would never tell you. It is overly polite to the point that it will never tell you if it needs more context. So you actually have to ask it at the end of your prompts. If you strongly suspect that it needs a lot more context, just remove this bit. Don't give it the option. Just say, let me know. Go as granular as you need to. Tell the AI to tell you if it has any issues or needs any more context, because you'd be so surprised what's in your head that's not in the model. Right? So you need to actually ask it that. So this is a number one AI prompting hack. Use this all the time. It's absolutely incredible. Let's go into some good inputs versus some bad inputs here, right? And we're going to do this as well when we go into the actual writing section here, when we go and write that welcome series for Gymshark. But let me just show you this here. So here's an example of a good input. I'm going to be writing a series of campaigns for the clothing brand Kensington mentioned above relating to their Black Friday sale. Once again, this is a hypothetical brand just based on my agency's name, Kensington Media House. The goal of this sale is to drive as much revenue for the brand as possible through email marketing. To start with, we're going to do a campaign with the following rough working title: BFCM VIP launch campaign, teaser re-engagement, the ID for this campaign, and so on and so on. Campaign only needs to be short as it's our best offer of the year and it speaks for itself. Look how much context we're giving it here versus the first prompt that we had a couple of minutes ago. Attached above is a PDF of the email template we'll be using for this sale. The structure of the hero image, body, copy, buttons, and social proof must be observed. You can see this here. The tone will not change from the normal tone we have as a brand. Please clearly observe the tone of voice document inside the main markdown file attached. So you can see here we have a markdown text file here too. Before responding, please let me know if you have any questions or need more context. If not, you may generate your response. Versus this, what's going to give you better outputs? Now, I know this is a lot of work, but this will potentially give you your email in one output. You might not actually have to do much after this. So you can just see here, this is what's required. You need to remove all ambiguity for the machine. Now, when you see what good looks like I'm saying, how would you ever expect the AI to give good output in this case here? Key in every prompting session, right here, absolute key, remove every bit of ambiguity. How to think about reducing ambiguity. Here's what Cristiano Ronaldo can teach you about AI. So we're going to watch a little clip here, and I'm going to ask you first what you think of this. Like, what does this actually bring to mind when we watch this clip? Let us take a look and see what comes to mind. We will keep the sound off. Here we go. Champions League final, Bosch. Pretty iconic goal as well, but just look at this. What does this bring to mind for you? Pretty interesting clip, pretty elucidating. I'm sure you guys probably have, what I have in mind. What you see here is that Ronaldo, in this case, is talking to Luka Modric, who is one of the best players to ever play the game. Even with Modric's greatness in reading the game, his football IQ is one of the highest of all time. He needed Ronaldo's direction and guidance to get rid of all the ambiguity to give the perfect pass in the Champions League final. And as you can see, the result was a winning goal. I think they maybe won 3-1. Maybe it wasn't an exact winning goal, but it definitely was an extremely important goal. And you can see here, in this case, you are Ronaldo and the AI model is Luka Modric. Great as it may be, it needs you to remove the ambiguity. It needs you to tell the model, here, put the ball right here. This is exactly what I want you to do. You have Luka Modric with you with the proper direction, or without the proper direction, I should say, it's never going to be world class. So this is super, super important. We're reducing ambiguity. We need to realize that, look, it's not going to get to a point where it's just going to do all of our work for us. We have to give the AI model everything it needs, okay? I hope this doesn't deflate anyone. I hope this doesn't kind of reduce people's excitement, but it's just to say, this is a really high leverage thing to do for your business, and yeah, to understand how to do this. So what we were going to do next is we're going to go into understanding the biases of the AI machine. Understanding the biases of language learning models in general. We lightly touched on one just a little bit earlier, but let's go into these in a lot more depth right now, right? AI has a number of biases. You need to be aware of these if you want to get the best outputs, and if you're not, you're going to make unforeseen mistakes and just generally not of the best emails that you could possibly have, right? If you're aware of these, you'll be able to write incredible copy, probably better copy than you even thought possible with AI. So the biases themselves, let's start with the first one here, as we would term it, the incomplete information bias. So coming back to ambiguity, if AI has incomplete information, it's going to make stuff up unless you tell it not to. I'm actually serious here. What you need to do is to tell it to remain truthful and ask for these things if it doesn't have them available. Once again, we touched on this a little bit earlier. If you don't give it all the context possible, it still might go ahead with its output because it just wants to give you what you want. You've asked it a question, please give me this information. It just wants to give you the information as quick as it can. That is its system instruction, and that's going to override nearly everything else when it comes to your writing. So you can see here, right, doing this one day, this is just through a platform that we use to manage AI agents called Typing Cloud. I asked it after an output, are these actual reviews? Because I was reading it and I was like, these don't sound right. I was like, these don't sound like they're actual reviews I've seen on the website. And I asked, are these actual reviews? And look at this, I apologize for the confusion. No, they're not actual reviews from this brand's customers. I generated these fictional reviews based on product information and brand voice. So you can actually see, without me, kind of tying down and removing it as an option and saying, hey, like, make sure these reviews are real. You can see it actually just fabricated reviews. So the incomplete information bias, you need to give it all the information possible, but also you want to, in this case, ask it to remain truthful. The next one, we will call this creative license bias. Unless you tell AI what it can and can't say, sometimes it'll just veer off your brand voice and it will take its own creative license. Claude especially does this. So AI models made by Anthropic, like Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Claude Haiku, but mainly Sonnet. Unless you say here, don't say this or say this, it will literally do whatever it wants. It'll literally just take things into its own hands and go from there. So you gotta make sure it doesn't do that. The politeness bias. You've asked it for something and it wants to give you what you want right away, so it'll be too polite to ask you questions. You need to ask it if it has questions. It's not going to ask you. When you have, like I said, just kind of the thing that's going to override its system instruction is you have asked it for something, it's going to want to just give you that thing. So you've asked it write this campaign, it's just going to want to write the campaign as soon as possible to give you what you want. So coming back to this prompt here, please draft the email for this, and remember that the goal is to drive conversions as per the blank. Please let me know if a bit of a typing mistake, bit of a spelling mistake. Please let me know if you have any questions or need any context to generate your response. If you don't, then please generate your response. So that politeness bias, that's how we get around that. Bonus here, right, is a human bias, the machine context bias. We think the LLM, the language learning model, has far more context than it actually does, and do not ensure in our inputs it has enough context to give it a good output. Once again, we have to give it far more, as you're seeing all throughout this video, and we're going to do this when we write this welcome series in just a moment. You can see here that we need to give it as much context as humanly possible. This is where giving example emails to the letter will help us as we give the AI enough to know what success looks like, right? So this is, this is where the magic happens. Let me right now jump to the computer. Let me jump into ChatGPT actually, because I think it's gonna be the model most people use, and quickly walk you through an example AI copywriting session so you can see what good prompting looks like. I'm gonna write an entire welcome series for Gymshark, and I'm going to let you judge how good the copy is. So time for me to give you context. Side note, I actually kind of learned the last little while that, in general in life, there's kind of a worrying amount of similarity between AI models and human beings. And, oftentimes, let's say if, you're working with your team, or you're working with, someone else, or even you're organizing plans with your friends, oftentimes if things go a bit haywire, it's because you haven't given your friends, or you haven't given people around you enough context. So yeah, I think looking at it through that lens, you'll kind of start to learn through prompting how in general communication works and so on, which is definitely another win. So as you can see, we are here with ChatGPT, and we are about to go through our guide, and we're going to use this here in terms of giving it as much context as possible, right? So we're going to come back all the way up here, and I'm going to make a document that is going to give all of the brand information for Gymshark. We're going to do this through Notion, and yeah, we're going to essentially prompt this. We're going to get the best welcome series that we possibly can get out here. So let me go to Notion here. I'm going to pop all this information in, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we have got our basic information here that we want to follow, and we're just going to do this for Gymshark. So let me just make some spaces here between all of our sections for all of our context length that we're going to use here. So this is pretty cool as well for you guys. You can basically take this from the doc. Once again, the doc is in the description of this YouTube video down below, and you can actually use this for yourself, for your brand, or for your clients, right? So we're going to go back up here, brand information. So we will just go into all this. I'm going to fill all of this in, and then I will come back to you and show you exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so we have gone through, we've trawled through the internet. We found here most of Gymshark's kind of information to put in here. So as you can see here, we had these 7 things that we wanted to put in here. So we have the brand name, the mission, the values, the tagline, product description, and so on. Moving down here, we found here most of Gymshark's kind of information to put in here. So as you can see here, we had these 7 things that we wanted to put in here. So we have the brand name, the mission, the values, the tagline, product description, and so on. Moving down here, their demographics. This is the best I could really find. You could probably drill down into more detail. In fact, if it's for your brand, for a lot of you guys, you probably will have more detail than this, at your disposal, especially if you have brand guides, brand IDs, and all that sort of a thing. You will definitely have this. Age, gender, location, income level, psychographics, interest, values, pain points, all these sorts of things, customer personas, and so on. These are all things we could kind of find throughout the internet. You can see here as well, we're going to go for, it did say campaign details in here, right? So you have campaigns like this is, for a specific email, but this is going to be for a sequence of emails. This is going to be for a welcome series. And here we're just going to do a 10% off discount site-wide. They do a free shipping on orders $75 and above. And we're just going to say that this code is going to expire 7 days after people sign up. It's going to increase conversions and sales, in terms of the goals anyway. Welcome subscribers to the newsletter. Encourage a first-time purchase is going to be the main thing using the welcome 10% off offer. Boost website traffic, and then enhance customer engagement and loyalty. Persuasive strategies, we use social proof, liking, commitment, consistency, reciprocity. So, obviously Gymshark use a lot of influencers, so this is going to be something that we're going to, lean on quite heavily in here. Authority, scarcity, and urgency. Email components, things we're gonna look to put in here for our subject line kind of focus. Our header text, body copy, themes, call to action, tone and style. This is something we might build out a little bit more here, but I couldn't really find too much on their tone of voice here. This is going to be kind of the main thing that we pull in here. So concise sentences. The thing with Gymshark emails in terms of their tone of voice is that they actually don't say that much. They're pretty just direct. So yeah, there's not too much copy. Incorporation of light humor where appropriate, and inclusive language. Obviously Gymshark have quite a diverse array of models and so on that they use. So yeah, we're gonna reflect that. Visual cues and design integration. Yeah, just a lot of dynamic shots of diverse individuals. You see Gymshark really do focus on this in terms of their model selection. High quality photos, design flow, design team guidance, so on and so forth. So you can actually see here, like this is gonna be pretty helpful for us. So what I'm actually just gonna do here is I am going to go here and I'm gonna go export. I'm gonna export this as a markdown and CSV. We're just gonna hit this right here and then name this Gymshark welcome series information. And now you can see here, this is gonna come in a zip file, and I'm just gonna pull this into ChatGPT. I'm gonna open this zip file. We're gonna do this as a markdown and CSV. So you can see this markdown file comes up here. I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna drag this all the way over here, and boom, now we have this here. So we have the beginner's guide to AI copywriting within this. Let us go in, and now from here, let us actually go through and prompt through a whole welcome series. We're gonna do this out as 6 emails. I'm actually going to show you some tips as we come through there in terms of how to give progressively more context to the machine as we go. So we're going to first come up with the structure of the welcome series. We're going to come up with which emails are going to go into this. Then we're going to write the specific emails themselves. So let us begin. What I want you to notice, I will cut through a lot of this, so you guys don't have to witness me, going into this in extreme depth, but just watch how much context and detail I'm going to give the machine. Let's start. Let's first let the machine know exactly what we're going to be looking to achieve. Let's let it know the exact emails that we're going to do. Let's let it know the exact structure that we want to have inside of this welcome series, and we'll kind of go from there. So let me begin, and I will come back to you once I have this prompt fully built out. Okay, so we have worked a lot on our prompt in the last kind of 30 minutes or so, and as you can see here, a lot of work does go into this. So let's expand, and I will show you what I am looking at here. So I pulled in a couple of Gymshark emails just for structure and so on. So fun fact, you can actually just go and click the 3 dots in your email. I'll show you exactly what I did. I just went into a couple of these emails, clicked the 3 dots, went to download message, and then it gives you an email file. So instead of doing 6 emails, I said we would do 7 and I'll show you why in terms of the structure. So here we open it up with this bracket, so we let the AI model know here's where the prompt begins. To create a 7 email welcome series flow that introduces new subscribers to the brand Gymshark, builds emotional connection, provides value, and drives first-time purchases through a strategic incentive structure. So look how much detail I'm giving here for the event, the audience, the emotional journey of what we want to do, where we want to bring people through, the flow structure. So you can see here, this didn't fully format right. This should be number 2, but it's not allowing me to do that. So you can see this is just going to go in the same number here. If anyone has OCD, I apologize, but you can see here, email 1, I'll just pull this down here. So we have email 1, we have kind of a welcome and instant reward. So we're just going to give them the tier 1, and then I'm letting them know the tier 1 incentive is a 10% off their first order. So what we're going to do here for people who have not bought is we're going to go up to a tier 2, which we're going to say is a 15% off code, just for people who haven't bought. We can see here briefly preview what the subscriber can expect from their emails too. And then we're going to go into this. Let me see if this will actually let me do that. Oh, there we go. I think everyone's going to be a lot happier now watching this. So we're going to say this is 2 days after email 1. We're going to say that the objective, I'm going to just pull this down a little bit. This looked a little bit different before I went full screen. So I don't know if that made it a little bit more difficult. There we go. We will move down here. So you can see what email 2 says as well. And you can see email 2 is just going through the brand's origin story. So focusing on its mission and values. We're going to like pull this stuff in here as well, because Gymshark's origin story is super well documented. What makes the brand unique, and then just kind of not go into like a really aggressive selling style. It's not really on brand for Gymshark. So you can see, then we have a social proof email. We're going to put this one at 4 days after email 2. We're going to make this one nice and long. Objective to build trust and credibility. And then we have the content instructions below. This formatted completely wrong when I went full screen. Let me just check up here. Yeah, sorry, that happened here. These were correct when it wasn't full screen. So we can see here, email 3, more of a social proof email. Then we move down to email 4, which is going to be more of an urgency drive. So at this point with email 4, we're actually going to try to kind of get people to, chop, actually make a purchase and see. Okay, so we have this formatted nicely now. We can see here, sorry, this should say 48 hours. So we can see here as we come to email 6, this is going to be a few days after email 5. So this time, we want to just try and push people to make their first purchase. Once again, this is going to be the main goal of a welcome series. We have a full welcome series guide on the channel as well if you want to sign up for that, or you can get the written guide directly to your email if you pop your email in at the link in the description to sign up to our newsletter. But here, as you can see, we're just going to do this for 48 hours only. So kind of an exclusivity. We don't do this often and so on. You can see how much detail I'm actually giving to the AI here. We go finally for email 7 is we have final reminder for incentive tier 2. So timing here, this is going to be 24 hours after email 6. The objective is going to be create the final urgency and drive conversions, and then the content instructions are below. So this is just going to be kind of that last ditch attempt to get someone to buy. Now, as we come down here, general instructions: maintain consistent brand voice and visual style throughout the series, optimize all emails for mobile viewing. This is absolutely key. This was in the design guide as well that we just posted on the channel. Everything has to be optimized for mobile viewing. Include clear unsubscribe options in every email. Ensure all claims and offers comply with relevant regulations. Use A/B testing for subject lines in each email. Implement open time content for real-time personalization where possible. And then here, main metrics to focus on. Once again, we need to define success. We need to give the AI model what success actually looks like and what it needs to be focusing on. Open rates, click-through rates, conversion rates from subscriber to customer, average order value, time to first purchase, revenue generated, unsubscribe rate throughout the series. Compliance, we need to make sure we're within compliance for CAN spam and GDPR if applicable, for all of our customers. Cross-channel coordination, make sure everything looks correct across all of channels. And you can see here, Gymshark typically use, so I give it more system instruction. I'm giving it more instruction as we go. I'm going to show you how we give it progressively more context throughout the session. Gymshark typically uses very little copy within their emails, and I have some example emails attached to this, as we saw, these emails over here, to this prompt to give you as much context as possible. Observe the structure, tone, and design of these emails to understand and keep your copy output on brand. Please output email 1 first. So this is going to be how we give progressively more context. We're going to go for email 1 first, and then we're going to go through the rest of the emails. Before generating any response, please let me know if you have any questions or need any more context to give the best output possible. If you don't need any more context, you may generate your output. So we are going to go here, and I might actually just give one more thing here, which I'm going to say, you may read Gymshark's website using following URL to help your output also. For most of the brand elements that we had, I did use Gymshark's website. So when I was actually making this main mega prompt, I did use their website, but just in case there's, there are things that I've missed, I'm just going to put this in here as well so we can get the AI to scan the website. So we will go enter, and we will see what happens here with our first output. And now we're going to see, with the rubber meeting the road, how things actually look. And we're going to see here, I'm sure this output will actually be pretty close to the finished article right when we sign up. I'm going to close this window. We're just going to come in here and check this out. This actually looks pretty good. I wouldn't say we're so pumped. I'm nitpicky when it comes to copy. I think it kind of lowers the status of the brand because it says more than it needs to say. Obviously we want to make the customers feel good, but we need to put the brand on the pedestal here in this case, more so than putting the customer on the pedestal, just to have the best conversions possible from the copy for a brand like Gymshark that's undeniably number one in its space of athleisure and the kind of active wear and that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to give some nitpicky comments here to the AI. So I'm going to say, this looks great. One thing to bear in mind for future emails in this series, I'm going to say the reasoning here is that we want to maintain the status and not seem too overly excited. Being a little more casual in expressing art will attain the brand positioning better. With this in mind, please draft email 2. Cool. So I've given it a little bit more context. So just said, look, in terms of expressing our excitement, make it a little bit more low key than that. And we're going to go through here behind the brand. One thing I'm kind of a little bit concerned about that I don't fully like is the subject lines. Now, these subject and preview lines, just in general, we might do a full subject line training here on the channel as well. But with subject lines, generally speaking, we want to keep these short. A lot of people talk about optimizing websites for mobile traffic, but not many people talk about doing that for emails. For emails, a lot of people are going to be reading these on their phones. And as a result, this subject line and preview line, there's a good chance this wouldn't actually fit on someone's phone. Now, if someone has a bigger phone, yes, it could. But even here, look at this. What I would probably do is I would just make this the subject line, and then I would make this the preview line. What we generally want to be doing with subject and preview lines, we just want to have the subject line open a loop and then have the preview line add curiosity to that. So just to get people to open. But actually, I'm going to put these in. Let's just give the AI as much thing. Lines and preview lines so they can be read on mobile devices. And then there's one more thing I'm going to say on structure here. I'm just going to say something interesting that opens a loop in the reader's mind with the subject line, and then add to the curiosity with the preview line, and to increase open rates as much as possible. With the emails you write, ensure that each one has a hero image with a short headline and a button which gets people to click. This section needs to come before the body copy. Please rewrite emails 1 and 2 with this in mind. Cool. So we need to be continuously training it. We need to be giving it more and more context. We're about to find out how these look. Okay, so we're going to vary up the signature, and don't always have a signature in every email. Please rewrite emails 1 and 2 with this in mind. Boom. Let's see what our outputs are like now. So you can see here, you need to kind of sculpt this down a little bit more, even with all the context that we've given the machine beforehand. Had I given it all of this context beforehand, had I foreseen all of the issues that could potentially arise with it writing, we actually wouldn't have any of these issues. So what we're kind of not seeing here is all the issues that we've avoided with the context we've given it thus far. So we just need to give it more and more context, guys. This is like the main meta kind of concept that I want to give you guys here, which is going to be giving it as much context as possible. These are kind of good. It's a little bit cheesy. I'm really pedantic when it comes to copy in general. So yeah, even like with our team, with our copywriters at the agency, I'm kind of a bit known for that. So I don't want to like just jump in and kind of be as pedantic as I've been being with some of these. Yeah, these are good emails. These are good emails. Okay, please draft email 3 and bear in mind everything we have said in the chat up until. Okay. These are getting better. Now, let's ask AI, are these real reviews? I doubt these are real reviews. So we're actually gonna have to feed in some of the reviews here. Now, watch this. Are these real reviews? Once again, the incomplete information bias, right? Just bear that in mind. No, right. Let's go here. Let's find some real Gymshark reviews. So, come in here, doke. I'm just gonna feed these in here pretty loose, to be honest. So let me pull this in here. So we have Chuan DB. So Chuan is saying good things, which is good to see. So I'll pull this also down here. Yasmin, let's see. Yasmin has given another 5-star review. So I'm obviously going to pull in their best reviews. Let me try and get some guys in here. Mr. Williams. Okay, Stephen, there we go. Stephen has said some lovely things about us. So we will pull in Stephen's review, and then we might just get like maybe 2 more, something like that. Top of the night, or sorry, that's Jennifer. So let me try and find a guy. Christine. Well, they're definitely most interesting note as well. Gymshark's customers are probably like probably a good bit more than 50% women, I would say, at this stage. When I first began following the brand, really showing my age here, but back in like 2013, when I first found out about the brand, it's probably more guys. I remember their old days, kind of the influencers that they used to sponsor back then. Shout out to anyone who knows Sean Thompson Fitness's YouTube channel. And we'll go with Sarah here. Let's go here. Let's just pull these in. If you buy a reviews app for your brand, by the way, you can actually just export these reviews and put these into AI. You know, if you're using Yotpo, if you're using Trustpilot, or you're using something else, you can do this. You know, you can just export all of your reviews and ask AI to pick your best ones. So you do not need, let's see here. All right, these reviews, 2 by girls and 2 by guys, and then rewrite the email above using those real reviews in place of the fake ones. Cool. So once again, we see the incomplete information bias in action, right? Like you need to actually hem in the AI and they gotta let it know what it can and can't do just by millions. I'm not gonna lie, these are starting to get quite good. As you can see, as we're giving it more context as we go through, the email outputs actually become better. So this actually might be a case of, if you're doing a series of emails, you might want to come back and actually do welcome email 1 last. You might want to go through and do all of these emails, then come back and do welcome email 1. These are good. These are good. Please draft email 4, bearing in mind everything we have said in the chat up until now. Cool. Let's see what it goes for now. This is getting better. These are getting a lot better. There's actually not really much I would change here. Like this is even like structured nicely. This is maybe a bit long, again, kind of being a bit pedantic over the subject line, but we're getting a lot better here. Okay, dope. We're gonna give email 5 a whirl here, and we will go and see how email 5 does. I would maybe go into these objections a little bit more deeply. Size guide, that's okay. That's okay. Is the quality worth it? Yeah, that's okay. What if I have an issue? And they're using, now it's using real reviews. You can see here, that's pretty cool. What would I maybe change here? I think this doesn't explain the objection enough. Actually, let me show you a trick. I will dictate here. So I will use the dictation tool on my laptop. For me, that's above the key F5 on my Mac. I think this email is good, but maybe my Irish accent is a little bit difficult. We need to do a better job around the objections of defeating those. Where it says, will it fit me? We need to actually link people to our size guide, or just let them know that the size guide is one of the best in class and that it is truly exhaustive, and that it will let them know exactly what size they should pick for, you know, both things that they would wear on their upper body, things they would wear on their lower body. Is the quality worth it? We need to explain a little bit more about the quality being worth it. We need to say, you know, where our products are made potentially, or just say that they are, you know, truly the best in class, because in the case of Gymshark, their product quality is the best in class. So we need to enforce that a little bit more and really get rid of all of their concerns around quality. And then also having an issue with their order. Well, what we should let them know is that alongside having a world-class customer service team that is always ready to help and that always keeps people updated every step of the way with their order going to them, we should let them know that we offer free returns and exchanges that are hassle-free. Now, using this information that I have just given you in this prompt, please rewrite the above email and just handle the objections a little bit better. Everything else can remain exactly the same. We just need to handle the objections a little bit better. That dictation tool is absolutely incredible if you're, you know, getting a little bit more tired in a session. You know, it's actually just really, really helpful in general. So I would remove the boldness from here, maybe make this a little shorter. Yeah, I mean, this is better. This is definitely better. So I'm liking this a lot more. Let's see what it says in the rest of its output. Pretty cool how much you can make it learn in a simple session, you know, like how you can give it more and more context and you can actually see the outputs will get better. This is much better. Please draft email 6 using the information above in this chat. I think that was email 5. Yeah, it was. Cool. So let us see here. Yeah, these subject lines are a lot better. I'd remove this don't miss out, but you know, this is something I probably at this point, you know, it's late on the flow. I probably wouldn't tell the AI this. I'd just update the subject lines myself. Yeah, this is perfect. I would actually say I mean, I read basically a lot of Gymshark's emails, and like I said, I've known about the brand for nearly 12 years because I'm an old man at this stage. But yeah, I mean, this is bang on. This is absolutely bang on. The above email is great, really great. Please draft email 7 with all of information above kept in mind. So keep all of the context in your head, please, Mr. ChatGPT, and we will go from there. Yeah, I mean, like, even you can see the hero section, that's so much better. So much better, nice and short, like that'll read. You can read all that in one line on mobile. Super, super good. This is it. This is your exclusive 15% off. Yeah, I mean, this is great. Yeah, let's use our dictation tool again. I'm going to show you one more trick. Please take all of your final email outputs above for emails 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And please output them below so I can copy and paste them into a Word document. And now I can take all of this and I can just pull it back into Notion when it is all ready. Okay, so let us come back up here and let's copy all of this and we should be good to go. I think it starts somewhere up here. Yeah, this is our prompt here. So I will copy all of this and just come nice and all the way down, and cool. We can actually see here, we go in here, we have a fully outputted welcome series right here that actually reads really, really well. It's fully on brand for Gymshark. And yeah, you know, we have kind of our I think one thing we could probably do better is just design cues here, but I mean, you know, in terms of rewriting the emails, you know, I think these look good. You know, we could probably give kind of more direction to the design team in terms of how we want these to look, because there's a little bit of ambiguity here just in terms of the context that we're giving them as we hand over. But overall, I think this is pretty good. I think this is actually really, really good. So yeah, we have just rewritten Gymshark's emails in their entire welcome series with AI. And I think that looks very, very good. So back to our doc. That is an example of good AI prompting. That's me giving you context. And you can join our free newsletter for more guides just like this. You know, this doc is down in the description of the video. Click onto this link. You will get 3 emails per week. You'll get free guides better than anyone else has paid, you know, straight into your inbox here. And this is, you know, a newsletter sees everything first, right? So you can go on there and you can get a ton of free sauce right when you sign up to our newsletter. So definitely do that in the description below. Connect with us below on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, or Twitter right here, or you can even drop me an email if you have any questions. If there's any content ideas or kind of YouTube ideas that you'd like to see next, drop me an email, let me know, or you can drop me a message on LinkedIn, drop me a message on Twitter. Be happy to answer your questions there. Finally, if you need more help, if you have a brand doing over 100K months in direct to consumer revenue, you can book a time below. And yeah, we're going to be releasing a ton more guides about AI on the channel here. This is the first of many. It's a really, really enjoyable topic personally to speak about. I think it's absolutely fascinating kind of what some of these language learning models can do. Not just language learning models, but just AI tools in general these days. It's truly fascinating. So we're going to release, you know, guides here regularly on the channel about AI in marketing in general, but particularly, you know, with e-commerce email marketing, how you guys can use it to have the best outputs possible for yourself, for your brand, your clients. As well as that, if you just want to upskill in general with your email marketing, we have a full course video which is live on the channel. You can watch that here. I will see you in the next video.